The Red River Farm Network is celebrating women in agriculture. It is our series called Agricult-HER, and we want to thank all the good folks for making this possible. Our title sponsor, the Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, but also supporters include Ag Country Farm Credit Services, the North Dakota Corn Council, Minnesota Corn Growers Association, and Van On and Company. And looking forward to this conversation. We're talking right now with Leah Johnson, farmer near Evansville, Minnesota, fifth generation farmer. I love to say that. And also in the seed business in the Elbow Lake, Minnesota area. Leah, again, a pleasure to have a chance to sit down with you today.
Thanks for having me.
You got, I think, a unique story. Tell us about your start and how you got involved in agriculture to begin with.
Well, I was lucky enough to be born into a family farming operation that has done it all. Been through a lot of generations, a lot of hard times, a lot of great times. Um, I've just been a part of the farming operation and our custom combining business since I was 5 weeks old. My mom loaded me up into the back of a 1 ton dually pickup with a camper. And at 5 weeks old, I went down to Central Texas. So spending time with farmers in the field from my youth just kind of made my career decision for me that was where I was most comfortable. So went to NDSU, got a degree in ag economics, and worked for Pioneer for 1 year, made it in the corporate world 1 year, and got the opportunity to become a part of a Pioneer sales agency, Red River Sales and Agronomy in Elbow Lake, 10 years ago in April. And now running that business, and then started my farming career about 7 years ago.
I want to start, if we can, with the custom harvesting. Growing up in that nomad lifestyle, going, as you said, from the time you were just a baby and making that summer through fall run really across the country. What was that like growing up?
It was so much fun, Don. We got to visit some of the most remote rural areas in the high plains and get to come into these extremely small communities during their busiest, most fruitful time of the year during harvest. So these towns really come to life and would welcome us carnies, if you will, into their communities, and gave me the opportunity to learn about other small communities across the Midwest and the High Plains. I went to Baptist Bible Camp in Oklahoma, spent many Fourth of Julys in Garden City, Kansas, and Pierce, South Dakota. It just was a fantastic way to grow up and just get to see different parts of the world, and especially farming communities, to see them thrive.
Oh, you obviously you've got it in your blood. You're farming yourself, and you started on your own. Tell me how you were able to accomplish that, because that seems to be a barrier of entry for a lot of folks, is just trying to uh, find their path to get started in agriculture, in farming.
Yes, my situation was fairly unique at the time. My landlords had made the decision that they were going to retire, and they met with me separately without any outside interest, with my family that farms with me, and gave me that opportunity to rent their farm and be their successor. They were the sixth generation on their farming operation, and so to be plucked out of a lot of farms in our area was just a blessing, and it's been great to really dive in headfirst, farming. And I'm very blessed that I get to do it alongside my parents, and then my brother's also a part of our operation.
Why did you want to be a farmer yourself? I think a lot of people uh, come into agriculture and we see all the different opportunities. Why did you want to get your boots dirty every day?
I think for me, it's just been a part of my life. My parents both grew up on farms, and my mom has been a part of our farming operation. And so it's a family business, and so that's all I know, basically. And I think that it's so rewarding to especially raising crops, is that I joke that how many times do you get 50 tries to get it right? The cyclical aspect of it interests me so much, which is part of the reason why I'm in the seed industry as well. Is that that's a farmer may not need to buy machinery every year, and you're not going to get the opportunity to maybe buy land every year, but you get to put a crop in every year. And I think that that's it's really fun to get to watch the crop grow, and the best part, harvest.
Yeah. You're farming farmers when you're in that seed business and working with them really throughout the growing season, and you work with them in the these winter months as well. What do you gain from that? What's your personal satisfaction out of that?
I think growing up on the harvesting business, spending time with so many different types of farms, sizes, shapes, the people who manage them, the families that run the farms that we would comment for, I think that that relationship trans is the exact same in the seed business, where I get to call on 80 to 100 farms every year and learn a little bit more about their operation and learn about what they're doing to be progressive, what they're doing. And that is, information is the best way to learn and to grow. And that's by far been my favorite aspect of um, finding out that a lot of growers are dealing with the same issues. Is how can we in our business come up with some solutions and some tools in the toolbox to help them.
So I know you're involved in a lot of other areas, whether it's farm organizations or what have you. What trips you trigger there? What kind of things are you involved in?
Well, I think as a farmer and as somebody in the agricultural industry, we have to be in tune with what's going on with public policy. So, with the Farm Bill be going to be a key topic, I think it's super important right now that we all take time to listen and understand what's going on in ag policy right now, on an election year. It's even more important to understand who, how do our legislators vote, and what do they stand for.
So do you do that by getting involved in farm organizations, or what's your where do you gain that?
I have been a very active Farm Bureau member since I was a college student in North Dakota. And the moment I moved back to Minnesota, I joined our local Farm Bureau county organization and have been involved ever since.
Of course, they've a very active young farmer and rancher program. Uh, it's nice to have people at your own generation that you can share what's happening in this business.
It's really fun to see, from where I started 10 years ago, coming back to my home area. The average age of those board members, whether it's Farm Bureau, our local corn and soybean grower organizations, the age is trending younger. So I'm happy to say that on our in our county corn and soybean growers, we've got, I think the oldest board member is my mother by a lot.
That's exciting to see because there's a lot of times we just saw a lot of gray hairs when we went to meetings like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is exciting. Why do you think that's the case? Why are people of your generation getting engaged in policy and in their farm organizations?
Well, I think that it's we're seeing very, very good succession planning. I think I'm part of a class of farmers that that are in the steps of that succession planning. And I think it comes down to what are the priorities in your farming business, and policy and advocacy need to be a part of your mission on your farming operation.
I think there's so many misconceptions when we think about agriculture with the general public. Uh, how do we get our message out? What avenues do you have to do that?
I think the best way is we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I think all of our commodity groups and ag organizations, you can align your values, and like Farm Bureau is a grassroots organization, so if there's something you're really passionate about, we can create policy locally that can make it all the way to the national organization's policies.
So
Whether that's local property taxes for school building referendums, or if it's about just rural welfare when it comes to broadband.
yeah, and they're all important to us too.
Exactly.
Who were your mentors coming into this business?
Oh, I was so fortunate to be a part of a farm that was the women held just as important of roles as the men. My mom has been the CFO of our farming organization my entire life, so she's got the approved sticker when it comes to some capital expenditures that she has to approve. And I watched my grandmother farm with my dad and my uncles, and they were just real inspirations to me. I've been very fortunate to have multiple mentors in all facets, and I I'm so lucky. Um, Now I have young people asking me questions and wanting to job shadow what I do every day, and that's weird. In my mind, I'm still 23.
Yeah, me too, but I'm a long way from that. It's kind of a head trip when that happens, isn't it?
It really is.
So, what's your advice? What do you tell the young people that want to job shadow or learn from you?
Take every opportunity you can to job shadow, do an internship, work off the farm, because there's just as much value 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, learning what you don't want to do. As there is more value in taking an opportunity and reflecting and going, oh, that isn't what I want to do. I don't want to work in an office. I need to be outside. Take those opportunities, um, because then you live your life with a lot less regret. And just having an understanding of what all facets of careers in the ag industry can mean for you, and where you're, because I know you'll find your fit.
Yeah, that's good advice. Uh, Final thoughts? Anything you'd like to uh, take home message with our viewers here today?
I think some of the best advice that I have lived by is sometimes it is easier to ask for forgiveness, not permission.
I like that. I use that myself. Very good. It's always a treat visiting with you, Leah. You do such a great job, and we always appreciate your help. You always are always willing to help us, and we have some projects going on, and thank you for that. So thanks for joining us for this today, Leah.
Thank you.
Leah Johnson with us again as we celebrate women in agriculture. It's our series called Agriculture.